This is different pictures of some of my inventions. This is going to be kind of dumpy, but the overall thing is, or the overall question is, should I keep trying? Should we all keep trying? Or whatever? Because as I mentioned in my Young Achiever playlist, which has a lot of videos in there now that aren't mine as well, because I also same videos and playlists that I feel is similar, or talk about similar things, but the bad thing about that is that then it can make it harder to find my videos, but the main one should be at the top. I don't think it has that many videos in it, possibly, especially in my first video. I'm pretty sure I have screenshots from different young entrepreneurs or tech bros, AI people, whatever in the world you want to call them. Different people like that. And in fact, I think even in my first video for the Young Achiever playlist, I go back over a video that I made during the abuse evidence videos, although it was one of the unlisted ones because my relatives watch those channels. And that's actually a long story, but anyway, from a video, or I'm talking about a video that I made back during the abuse evidence channels about how I was jealous of a 13-year-old. And of course I talk about how I know that a lot of people do have extremely abusive tiger parents and stuff who try to vicariously live through them, and they try to get there, or they force their kids to accomplish things that they want to accomplish, or just things that the kids don't want to do to have that good rich family look and different stuff like that. And there's a lot of abuse that goes into that, especially people that are in cults and these different Greek letter college Freemason organizations, and some of the kids end up unaliving themselves. But when it comes to the kids who actually want to do these things and they want to make these achievements and create these businesses, having parents that are also, as you can see, they're typically already rich, but also are just supportive, and they're not trying to sabotage you, and they're not weird and abusive and trying to unalive you and stuff like that. It definitely goes a long way. And it's funny because the people who aren't supportive, they just have generations of bullcrap, or they just don't get as far as they could have gotten. As I mentioned, one of the boys that I mentioned in the video, in his video, which I had a screenshot of, and the link may be in the description, where he was talking about how he started his company or started learning a code at 14 or younger. He said that when he dropped out of school and he started working on starting his business, his parents didn't have a choice, and he didn't give them a choice. And of course, he became a millionaire, even I think more than that, something like that. When most people hear something like that, they would start talking about how disrespectful he is, how he needs a quote-unquote whooping because people are into BDSM but won't admit it. They start talking about how he's not honoring his parents and different stuff like that. But you notice that the supportive parents and supportive family systems are the ones where they actually end up having better outcomes, that boy did and the other people that I mentioned. Although I did mention plenty of times already, most of these people, or at least all the ones in that video, were already rich, or just about. One of them, or a few of them already I think most of them lived in Cali already. One lived in, I think, San Jose or Silicon Valley or something like that. I can't really remember, but my point is that, people definitely have different things that they want to do. People do eventually give up because it's hard, and they realize that it's really hard to get to. But I feel trying is a good thing. I'm not trying to I know it's probably about to be something else that people would consider depressing, but I do feel a lot of people do a lot of toxic positivity type stuff when it comes to any and everything, and they want you to lie to yourself, which actually keeps you in bad situations and keeps you from trying things that would work, or not doing things that are making stuff worse for you, because people pretty much just want to tell you not to be negative. But I do feel sometimes you really have to not lie to yourself and figure out what's really going to work out and what's really not, and what's really possible and what's really not possible for you to do, so you can maybe figure out some other way to do it or try something else. But these pictures are from, a couple of them are from this invention that I started making when I was 6. I did make some more some months ago because I had a place to put stuff for a little while. That was another story, to be honest. But I know the first ones I made, I had a Bluetooth speaker or something in there, and it was set up to some diary app that I had on my phone that had read aloud, so make it talk technically. They were anatomically correct. They were, or at least the first ones I made, they were males. That's another story, which definitely drew a lot of questions, and then I got in trouble for bringing them to school. for a couple reasons. Also because one of them started to smell bad because I guess I was kind of neglectful and I wasn't the best mom that I could have been. And so like I had built this thing inside of it so like it could eat, or more so it could drink. And it would come out the front end because like I said, they were anatomically correct. Actually, I'm starting to remember more about this. So the funny thing is that I wanted something to help me cope with how things were going. So I wanted a Baby Alive doll. Nobody would get, but I'm not going to go into that. Those are expensive anyway, so that was like one of the things with that. And I was like, well, screw this. I'm just going to make my own. And I even remember my old quote-unquote stepmom was like, because they were anatomically correct, she was like, well, how do you know? And so, yeah, there was that. Before my older enabler sister really became my older enabler sister, I remember she had told me, dang, you make your stuff from doodle and scratch. And she didn't mean it in a rude way. It's just like I made a lot of things, and I guess I made them from nothing, kind of. Oh, yeah, and I remember. Not my very last ones I made like a few months ago, but before I had ran away, I know like the last puppet doll things I made, my mom threw those away. In fact, those were some of my original ones, I think, that I had to go get from my grandma, if I'm remembering right, because I was quote-unquote too old for them. And that was the excuse. And then my laser gun that I was building, that got thrown away too. But I was supposed to be building another one that was stronger, but there were some issues with like money. And then of course, like, in fact, some of the money that I used for the second build, which I don't even think I have screenshots of it here actually, that was actually from when this lady in I think Australia, if I remember right, do like my Ageism videos and stuff. She wanted to like help me get out, so she had like gave me some money, but I was having issues transferring it from like one card to the other card to have it somewhere that my relatives don't know about and can't find and access. And so then I got really sad. This was before I knew I was hypoglycemic. I thought that I was just eating a coke, but actually I was eating because of that. But I started spending all the money on food, and that's on the video. But that's where the money for my other laser gun build that I don't even think I put pictures in of came from. But I got kind of like halfway there, but I think I was not charging it enough. But I remember there was this whole situation where I wanted a 3D printer. This is actually funny. This was like during, this wasn't like early part 1 channel, this was probably before the part 1 channel, where like something about the SSDI. So like my mom got that for me since I was 11, but I was living with my dad, so he didn't get the money, she did, and she was lying and saying she didn't get any, as always. And that also happened with the whole stimulus check thing. And then she used the money to get, her boyfriend got a motorcycle, she had got a car, at least it went towards it. And then some other stuff, and I wasn't living with her, and it was kind of upsetting because like my dad and grandma were claiming that they would like give me the money to get a 3D printer. But also another thing with that I didn't really think about is that I would have also had to still learn CAD, which also means that I would have needed a computer, which also means that I would have needed Wi-Fi, which also means some other stuff, but that's like the main thing I could think of with that. So I guess maybe that wouldn't have really worked out anyways. I'm just still trying to figure out how to do these things, and it's like I really don't care too much, but I do know that to be able to help other people, I would need money, and that's what it really all goes back to. Because like I honestly rather just like run off into nowhere, and I'll probably just eventually die from hypoglycemia, which will probably happen anyways one day. Then I think about, I guess I could say you guys, but I don't really think the people who really watch these videos are necessarily like the people that I really want to, because like I really make these videos, one for myself, two for people that I know who are in these types of situations. But I think about you guys, quote unquote. And so what I was thinking about a couple of days ago when I was thinking about like making this video, I was thinking about this quote from, what's that dude's name, Lil Uzi Vert, where he was his fans or whatever in the world were asking him if he sold his soul. A stupid question, and also really it's metaphorical, but I don't want to go into info dump. But they were asking him if he sold his soul, and he was like, you asked me if I sold my soul? Yeah, I sold my soul for you. And that's what it makes me think about. But the brighter side, it also makes me think about one of the quotes from Jesus about pretty much like the people who were greatest in the kingdom, the people who come to serve. It's about those two things. And then it just reminds me to keep going and to keep trying. Realistically, rather just like live in the woods somewhere, but keep trying for other people. Because if I really want to be able to help other people, then I have to make some money. That's pretty much that. And as I've said since I was 6, which has always been concerning to people, I don't want to live long. I don't care to be rich. I've never been materialistic, but I always said that I don't want to be rich because I feel like I'll just end up unaliving myself, and I'll just be more depressed because then I'll like have like a house and stuff and money and nobody to share it with. But I guess maybe technically I would have someone to share it with, since the point of getting the money would be for other people. That's how that would go. Although I know that things are very gate-kept. There's a lot of stuff I could say with that, like, especially before the internet and AI, it's like it was really hard, or the newer AI, I'll say that, the newer ones that are made public now. Because all technology that you see now has been around for over 30 years. It's just that on the military and government people, obviously they get it first before anyone else does. But they have to release certain things at certain times as a part of certain agendas and get to the NWO. So before this, like, you had to either have a lot of money and know who to talk to, or you had to have access to a lot of good books that were expensive. Things are still pretty gate-kept. I mean, even from the white supremacist patent system, which doesn't benefit anybody, by the way. I mean, we all should know the story of the dude who was quote-unquote white that was unalive and all that stuff for making that car that could run on water. The recent situation with the African dude who made the car, or who made gas out of plastic, different stories like that. I mean, pretty much, like, the way it goes in making money is that when you get to a certain level, especially with fame, which I definitely don't want that. People think they want it, but you really don't. If you believe them when they say you're doing good, you're going to believe them when they say that you're doing bad. And I have to hear enough bull crap and side comments from people on a daily basis that I don't want to hear. So, also, I really don't want to be known on a smear campaign all over the internet, and I don't want people to even see all of that, and there's a lot of stuff with that. But anyway, people think that they want fame because of the rejection and abandonment, and they want to be loved and cared about, but honestly, none of that stuff is real. People are always going to be fake to you no matter what. Even if they worship you, they're still going to be fake to you, and they're going to switch up on you and want you to do what they want you to do. Just like Justin Bieber said, you don't care about people, only money. Money is all you care about. And then when you come out and admit all the trauma and rituals and essay you've had happen to you, you've had to do to other people, all the people you've had to watch get trafficked and different stuff like that, then you're just labeled off as quote-unquote mentally ill and on drugs. When you get to a certain level, there's a demon waiting for you to sell out, and you have people that come to you saying you have to do this and join us and do that, or else we're going to take you out because you could be a risk to us if you make this amount of money and you could actually do it for something good and you're not on the bad side. Like, I mean, even when it comes to like figuring out how to really like launch and deploy an app and all that stuff, there's definitely more info out now, but like so many things are gatekept to keep the market from becoming oversaturated, or to keep certain fields from becoming oversaturated. That's also why you'll see all the people lying about how good the technology that's out now is, because they know they can be replaced by it. Even when it comes to like how self-publishing is like a big thing now. At one point things were more gate-kept. They were bogarted, and people didn't want their fields to be oversaturated, and they still don't. Just like how a lot of people that work in like software development or tech are always like telling people who say that you can code with AI that they're lying. And I mean, to a certain extent, it still doesn't really work how people are being made to feel like it does. I wouldn't even advise really the stereotypical, what do people call it, vibe code, and I wouldn't even advise that unless you really know how to use like the drag and drop stuff, because all that stuff is like honestly way too difficult. It's like, I've wanted to learn to code because, as I mentioned in my Young Achiever videos, I've wanted to be an anonymous hacker. Well, not anymore. I haven't wanted to do that in years, but I did used to want to do that from age like 7 to, I don't even remember what age, but then after that I just wanted to know how to code in general. That's been going how that's been going, but it's like I think more and more about how realistically you either really want to like know how to use technology, or you really do want to like know how to code, but it's like it's something that takes years to learn, and you can't learn really multiple languages at once realistically. People claim that you should learn Python first, but I've tried learning Python for a few years now, and learning HTML has been easier than learning anything else, especially Python. I don't know why people say it's so easy, but then like you want to have like a IDEs and be able to download stuff, which you can do at some libraries, but I don't think you can do that at a lot. Which, as a side note, I started going to another library. Now, of course, I had mostly been stopped going to the one where the whole Chomo police situation went down with the Shane dude months ago, but I did go to another one. I mean, they're cool because I'm not in like a place with a high homeless population, and I'm also not in a place that's like used to homeless youth. So people either assume I'm way older than I actually am, or they just assume that I'm not homeless. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm glad that I'm in a place where like I don't have to worry about getting banned from the library, or getting charged threats, or getting told that I'm loitering and different bullcrap like that simply because I'm homeless or whatever. In other states I had to worry about that, but luckily that doesn't happen here, and I noticed that like that's actually helped me to be able to work harder on like continuing to learn the code and stuff, because I'm not like going to a library where I have to worry about being harassed by Abbott, Allied, and police the whole time, and being threatened if I even look like I'm asleep or I look like I'm homeless, or being told to leave, and just different stuff like that I had to deal with in other places. I would say probably not at most, and then it's like still some stuff that may not work out. It gets really confusing anyway, but I was still saying that it's like people don't want to really accept that like with the whole abuse system thing that's about to happen, robotics and AI is going to take over. And I mean, all this stuff is like, we've been getting predictive programming about this stuff for forever and a day, but I understand why people wouldn't want to admit to themselves that like they're going to be replaced. I mean, I don't know who would, and then it's like people are going to be really depressed. I mean, there's going to be that, and when the dollar completely falls and all that, I mean, so many people are just going to end up taking themselves out because they're not going to be able to handle any of that. Then some other pictures, some soup I cooked at the Youth Resource Center, something I did some years ago where I figured out through like downloading stuff and some apps how to like, I can't say change the operating system, but like I don't even know what it's really called, like make an operating system act as if it's another operating system. I don't really remember much about that whole situation though. But I do know that, like, at that point in time, I liked watching Mr. Who's the Boss and some other channels that talked about, like, the Chow Me and stuff. And I remember I had always researched the occult and the different agendas and all that stuff. Or not really researched the occult, but I researched just the program and different agendas pretty much. That's the way to summarize it, I guess. So I was about 6 or 7, and that's when I learned about the illusion of choice. Yeah, that's what it's called. And especially when I like learned about the Chow Me and those different types of phones in other countries. I remember I would tell people that there were plenty of phones out there that were better than the iPhone, and nobody would believe me. And I would tell people that America was just like holding us captive with Android, especially at that point in time. Well, no, I think LG already didn't exist by then, but I know at one point in time I was still talking about it. So like how they were trying to hold people in the two options of Android, especially LG, and iPhone, but I was always telling people that there's phones out there that are way better. All of those that I guess are technically still Android. I guess most phones are anyways. And how like they had better cameras, especially the Xiaomi one. And people just didn't believe me. And I was saying that it was all a part of the illusion of choice. They wanted to also keep us putting money into these American companies, obviously. And they wouldn't want to import any other phones over. But all that got me more interested in tech type stuff, to make a long story short.
Especially in operating systems. I remember at one point I was really interested in how to build a phone.
But the unfortunate thing about it is that I feel like I've never really been that good at it. I've only ever really been good at making, I guess I could say more so mechanical things to a certain extent. Because I've never really, in fact, other than like these couple landing pages that I've made on the 7th and in the 8th, that's like the only tech thing that I've honestly made. So it's definitely a start. But I don't know, it's like every time I want to start something, I feel like it's already too late. And especially with the whole thing that I talk about with the whole street kids aren't seen as kids, it's also like you have a lot of people that are constantly trying to make you feel like you're not a kid and you're just like some grown woman failure. And there's also that side. That doesn't help out. And then,
but yes, like I just had a lot of deadlines and I wanted to do a lot of things before I reached double digits and that didn't work out. But I know that if I keep saying that it's too late, even though like it's really not, then I'm just going to keep stretching things out and not do anything. Then there's also the fact that I definitely do have like really bad brain damage and ANS from my different abuse that I went through. So it's like that also did make it hard for me to actually learn things anymore and really remember things. And that's an issue that I noticed years ago, really starting at 12 when Cash for Kids and stuff started. And that caused its own side issues that made a lot of things harder, but I know that I have to do it now or I'm not going to do it at all. Next screenshot.
A movie that I made a few months ago that I honestly kind of forgot about. I think it's about like Steamboat Willie, because I remember that Steamboat Willie became public domain. But it's a cardboard cutout, because it was from this youth program that like they get homeless kids to make movies pretty much. This one actually pays you. They pay you $600. Back in Cali, they didn't pay you jack. They had people working full-time jobs, cleaning and doing beautification work, and they didn't pay anybody anything. It was a lot of exploitative stuff there. But anywho, so my original idea, because I didn't finish that sentence, was it was going to be about loneliness regardless. So like my original idea was that I was going to have a cardboard cutout of a family, and I was going to be sitting at a table, and I was going to be kind of like the whole Honey I'm Home type thing, like those old movies with the depressed dude that everybody abandoned them and they don't have anybody. That's what it's supposed to be like, because that's what I always say. I feel like a 50-year-old man has been divorced 3 times and I lost all my kids and stuff like that. That's how I felt for most of my life, actually. I come home and I'm like, guys, I'm home or something like that. And then I go to the table and then the camera was supposed to like be facing me at the table and there's a bunch of cardboard cutouts. So I was thinking like, maybe kind of like this thing that ltcorbis had made a video about back in the prime days of YouTube before she got banned from everything by 14. I think she was still like 10 or 12 at this point in time. Where she, there's a reupload, I could put it in the description. She made a video about this who would take her cardboard cutouts of Lord of the Rings characters with her and embarrass her boyfriend and stuff. Or at least I think she had a boyfriend. I mean, she got further than I did, so I guess she got that. But anyhow, that's what it was supposed to be. Because I think Frodo is pretty cute anyway. Then that's when I was like, nah, because that's like a lot of work. I'll just do one cardboard cutout of Steamboat Willie. And then pretty much it was about, not even me, but really other people I know, because I've never really been able to fall into some agenda, but pretty much the whole looking for validation and love from Chomo. So in the film, I showcased how Steamboat Willie the Predator was the only person who would approach me, and everybody else just walked past me and talked junk to me while I was in my sleeping bag and my mat on the sidewalk. And then Steamboat Willie walks up, and then I don't remember what I got him to say. I'll take care of you. I think that's what it was. And he was like, I'll enroll you in high school. Then after that, what was it? Oh yeah, I don't really remember much of it, but pretty much he had me on a boat, I think. And then at the end of the movie, because it's only like a few minutes alone, I'm back in a tent, and then I'm taking care of I think I had made like 4 mice babies, but I gave some of them away, so I only kept 2. But of course, like, since I move around so much, I don't have any of that anymore. But I did have 2, but I saw the pictures. I think I eventually gave all of them away. I threw the last 2 away before I left the West Coast again. So another thing that I could add in, something I noticed when it came to making the landing pages is that it's just like when I was finally encouraged to like record or figure out how to mix and master to the best of my ability and publish some of the songs that I made. And it took one person to encourage me to do that. I actually mentioned this girl before. As much as people want to talk about ageism and maturity, for her to be 14, she was honestly the most, I don't really like the term mature, but she was the most mature person I had ever met. Because I started thinking about the whole thing with the John religion and how like, everything is considered being a quote-unquote pedo, which is kind of funny. Well, it is funny. America's fake moral crisis is funny. Just the way she was honest and the way that she handled things. I don't even know how to put it. She was the most mature person I ever met. And it definitely makes me think, oh yeah, I recently remember her name too, because I forgot her name because like of issues I have where I can't remember names or faces, but I remember recently. And her name was Nicole. Yeah, she was like, these sound good, you should upload them. And just like actually hearing like what I had always wanted to put together. Because one of the songs, Tragic Story, I made that when I was 12. And just like hearing or seeing the finished product and seeing that like something that you envision in your head can be real and it can sound like how you want it to, which the audio was a little drifty because like the instrumental is pretty loud, but it's still whatever though. I know like for some of the songs I was using Veloco, but then I switched to using BandLab because SoundCloud was, you had to have a laptop for SoundCloud, and for BandLab you just needed like some good headphones with a mic, which I was able to eventually get. And so there was that, and it just took that one little bit of encouragement, but more so the point with that is that the landing page thing was just like that, seeing like an idea right there, and even like with me finally starting to like sell books and the art that I was selling, which I never really cared too much for selling art. That was just something I really had to do, and I was in a place where I could even work to make money. I don't want people to think or know that you're like in a bad situation, because then, as I talk about in my video titled "You're Only a Beggar If" or something like that, when people know that you're not in a situation that they consider ideal, you're no longer selling something, you're just like a bum begging for money at that point. So whatever you're selling, it doesn't matter anymore. The bad thing about it is that like in the West Coast, they're so used to seeing street kids and homeless people in general busking, and I never panhandled before for a lot of reasons. Lots of people either just tell me to go home or something like that, especially in a place like this, but I just don't like stuff like that. But it's like when they see that, they automatically are going to assume that like you're in a bad situation. But where I'm at now, people aren't even used to seeing something like that, so they'll probably just like ignore you or feel like you're just like a scammer or something like that. But they're typically not going to automatically assume that you're homeless, especially if you're younger. But people, they will try to get no's, and that's the bad thing. But overall, what I was getting at with that is that selling those books though, that was another thing where like I just finally did something that I had always wanted to do. Just even like putting the books together. That was when I was printing them out though. That went how that went. Trying to sell books on a larger scale, that was going just like how my first print-on-demand store that I made at 14 went. Well, honestly not, because that went a little better because I at least made like $20. Or no, I think I made 73. No, I think I did make like 20 something, I know. And then I moved on from there. After a while, I did make 2 more or something like that for like separate businesses, like some months ago, but that's still kind of however. I think like one of them was kind of a bad idea anyway, so. In fact, I remember when I was, when I started selling the Cash for Kids system awareness product, somebody was like, you're trying to profit off of people's bad situations, and it's like I'm trying to profit off of my bad situation because I was trying to get the money together to have money for the runaway that I was hoping to still even have now and be able to spend now. But that, because of course like a lot of people, they have this idea that like they're gonna lay low, and when they're done laying low, they're gonna like get a job in a place, but that's not really how things work. But I really wanted to like make money even before escaping, because like I wanted to like be able to rent a room. In fact, I wanted to rent a room after leaving. That's why I was looking for stuff on Craigslist, but I know that like they're mostly for human trafficking scams, so I knew it was gonna be drifty. But actually my original goal was to find some type of work as soon as I get out here, and as soon as I get out of my situation. The more you learn like how to manage the situation with like a camping and stuff like that, and also when I realized that actually like living indoors added to me being sick, and I get really sick indoors, and I just didn't really have a way to get a job or make the money for it was kind of like those points. It's like even if I would have had the money for it, I realized it would be better for me to save the money for something better than to even put my money into a room that I'm renting. And that's another thing too, it makes you think back to what the different people that I mentioned, the tech bros I guess I could say, my Underachiever playlist videos, it makes you think about what they say about how like when you're young you have more chances to like make mistakes and try to make startups and business ideas because you have people to fall back on. And it's like, I can't speak about anybody else, but most of the people I've met throughout my life don't have all that. And the people that say that they do, they have cognitive dissonance, and they're desperate and codependent and stuff, and they're pretending that they do when they really don't. But one of the things that I have thought a lot about is that, well, I don't have parents and a family and all that stuff. Still though, since I stay outside, if I could figure out how to like do the things I needed to do to like make money or whatever while being out here, and like have a place to like keep stuff where they won't get wet or just go missing, or more so get wet, because the whole go missing thing isn't that much of an issue right now, at least until Ice Patrol comes here. I don't have the support system, but I still do technically have like a laid back situation, because since I'm living outside And also, since I'm out of my previous situation, I don't have to worry about being like extremely sick, having people stealing my money, breaking my stuff, being nosy, trying to sabotage me. I still kind of do have something to fall back on, and that something to fall back on is me being outside, I guess I could say. Because it's like, it's not like I'm really putting money towards anything except food sometimes, especially when I didn't have the transportation to go get stuff to eat, and from the places that give out food, and I didn't know where to even go to get that stuff. But it's like, since I know where that stuff is now, that's another way of like making a makeshift support system, I guess I could say. Because it's like, yeah, when you have like parents and family and all that different stuff in a safe, healthy one, it's like your needs are getting met for one, because a lot of people, they talk about like achieving certain things, but it's like, it's hard to really do stuff when like basic needs aren't getting met and stuff like that. But that's like a whole nother video, kind of. This one lady said that being homeless wasn't necessarily the bad thing. It's just like more so her trauma. Not that she wanted to be homeless, but her trauma in the situation and stuff that revolved around it was a really bad thing, because it's like she had a job, but she said she doesn't have to worry about bills and all that stuff, or at least not like house bills, car bills at that moment, so she got another car. That's what I mean. If this is even making sense, it's like a makeshift support system, because like since I don't know how to put it, maybe since I don't have anything, I don't have to worry about paying for anything. But of course, if I did have parents, I wouldn't have to worry about paying for anything either, or like trying to get food and stuff like that if they were like safe and healthy people. So I feel like maybe it could be like a makeshift similar situation to a certain extent, and this isn't even making any sense at all. But it's like, pretty much every time I think about giving up or just like not caring anymore and just like running off into the woods, which I still rather do, like if I could still like help people how I want to, or like set things up to where like that can happen even if I'm like not there, just having systems put in place or whatever. I don't know, I'd probably still just run off into the woods somewhere, but I don't know what to say about that. I just think about other people, and then that's what makes me decide to like not give up. But I still don't really know what to do, but I'm trying to figure things out. And it's like, it's not that I want to do it the simplest way possible, although I do have deadlines. It's like, I'm already nervous because of my birthday. Also, like I mentioned in the Younger Cheer playlist videos, there was a lot of things that I wanted to accomplish before you can reach the double digits, and of course that went how that went. It's just a lot of stuff with it, the midlife crisis and all that stuff. It's like I'm trying to like hurry up and push something out, and I wish like I would have started trying to do what I'm trying to do when I had originally got these newer ideas a few months ago. It wasn't that long ago, but I wish I would have started like trying to figure these things out sooner. But I think I kind of like got a little off-put by bullcrap support groups, so I was trying to figure out like, how do you do this if you have to do it at the library, and how do you use that, and where do you go to even view the code, and how do I figure that out. But luckily I was able to find out about CodePen and JS Fiddle. I don't know, I feel like kind of like that other boy, well, not that other boy, let me not even go there, but that boy that I consider to be the love of my life for the past couple of years. He makes me think about videos he made about he was trying to like figure out how to make some money in his bad situation that he's in. I don't know, it's definitely not easy, but I do think that like maybe if I keep trying, but then it's like, I also kind of feel like to a certain extent I don't really have that much of a choice though. Living indoors does make me really sick because of like poor indoor air quality and health issues I already have, but it's also still kind of like I do want to move one day, and I still already was like severely chronically ill before I ended up out here, and while my health is better out here, there's also like still some issues with that. And at the end of the day, actually having a place to like go back to and keep your stuff, even if you're not in there, and even if you don't sleep in there, or you're not in there like all day, it still does like completely make a difference. I do want to get a place one day, but I don't really want to live by myself either. Overall, I'm just like still trying to think about ways to keep managing my health, because it's like, but I guess overall, yeah, being out here is better for my health. But it's like, if I do start to like really get sick again, like especially how I was before I ended up out here when I first got out here, like I don't want to have to like try to like do that whole thing again while being out here. And that's also why like I have to have a certain way to be able to make money, because it's like, I mean, you can't really work, well, no, you can't work like a regular job when you like can fall asleep at random and you can just fall asleep standing straight up. Oh, that's definitely gotten way better since I've worked on like the malnutrition and like keeping my blood sugar in order. Whenever I'm not like able to eat certain things like in the way that I need to, and my blood sugar starts getting crazy again, then that's when like I can start just pretty much passing out places again. And the bad thing about it, because I mean it was happening some months ago, because it was really hot and I didn't have transportation to go to food banks or whatever, and I didn't know where they were at anyways. But overall I didn't have transportation, and my blood sugar was often pretty low. I mean it always is, but it's worse when it's low as usual. But then also I like can't get anything to eat, and I also can't get certain things to eat. They don't screw it up more. Another thing about that is like when you have those types of issues and you're living indoors, I mean, then it's kind of, I don't say it's whatever, but it's like, it's not like a public dispute, I guess I could say. But when you have those types of issues and you're like living outside, you're no longer like the kid with health issues, the person with health issues. You're now just like the homeless bum that's falling asleep everywhere, quote unquote, and used to go to jail. Like I almost caught so many charges, and I got so many texts from police when I was in NY behind that whole thing with passing out places, because it was really cold, the sun wasn't shining, and something about sunlight helps a lot of my issues. And what else was, oh yeah, the food was like really bad, and there's like a lot of chemicals and stuff like that, and just like was harder for me to eat. Kind of like in that screenshot from my most recent short video about a medical gaslighting, I think, or something like that, where this lady had said that she can't even eat anything from Jack in the Box without having to go to the ER because she can't take the chemicals in the food anymore. And I feel like once I got sick, that's how things were for me as well. Not that I eat fast food. I used to have to pretty often when I was in my previous situation, but I haven't had to since. I don't have the money for any of that anyways. So anywho, to get to the point though, the point is that if I did like start to get really sick again, and also to like maybe prevent certain issues from worsening, I am still gonna have to like stay indoors, and I'm gonna have to have money for that.
sometimes I do feel like what's even the point, because like so many things I wanted to accomplish before double digits, before a certain age, and now it's kind of like what's even the point? It kind of feels like it's too late and it doesn't even matter anymore. But I still have to remember that like it's not even just about what I wanted to do, because I mean the reality is that I can't blame myself even for anything now, because like I really haven't had like the options to really do any of those things that I wanted to do or want to do. But I'm still going to try to figure something out, because at the end of the day, even if I had deadlines and have deadlines for things, I might as well keep trying to figure it out, because it's still not just about me, it's about other people too, and then that's pretty. So I was going to go into the whole thing again, which I talked about on my last video titled, I think, The Good Things Are Running Away, and then in my Had Enough Yet Mitochondrial Dysfunction playlist. So another thing with my health, pretty much going from iatrogenic type 2 to form of iatrogenic brain damage induced type 1 and dropping down 80 pounds at 14, getting stuck there, is that there were certain things that I wanted to learn, like for example carpentry and electrical, that I did learn, but I even was doing volunteer, which was, I mean, pretty stupid, but I was doing volunteer construction work. I didn't like carpentry, but I was doing like basic electrical wiring, like putting in outlets and different things like that when I was still in Cali, because I wanted to find a way to get some what's it called, on-hand experience, maybe, I don't know. But so I started googling like volunteer electrical or volunteer carpentry and stuff like that, and I found something back when I was in Cali. I didn't do it that much. I did it like a couple times, but it's like by this point in time I had already started taking HCl and stuff. I had already got rid of my bacterial overgrowth in my intestines and stuff, or most of them. They used to like have me in constant pain. I did that with the animal meds, so things weren't too bad then, but it's still just like the fact that I can't gain weight. I can't gain fat or muscle due to the ANS. I can't remember it once I start recording. I think it's autonomic nervous system damage, all of that, and low beta cells. I probably don't really produce enough insulin anyway, so I can't gain weight or any of that. So I'm very visibly not healthy, and then overall, not only am I not that strong, but since my blood sugar is so out of control all throughout the day, and it's typically low now, because when I was in the metabolic syndrome / type 2 category, obviously I was having the highs, but not anymore, since the whole thing at 14. So now my blood sugar is typically low. In fact, I was being gaslit about it so often, even though everyone knew in my previous situation. Once I started checking it last November, I found out that my blood sugar was actually typically at 50, which made a lot of things make sense. And so it's like I was trying to do this stuff that I really shouldn't have been doing, but I didn't want to like learn it. I never wanted to build health, so I knew I didn't have the help for that, obviously, but I really did want to like do basic wiring and stuff. But it's like even that was like pretty whatever for my health. Like it's actually really cold in Cali, and like I'm sure I'm in the cold now, but it's like I'm trying to do things in the cold, but due to the low. Okay, right. Pretty much it's like when you have metabolic issues, it tears down like your joints and bones and your fat and your muscle. And so it's like that, and having poor circulation and blood sugars, especially low blood sugar, that makes cold weather even colder. When my blood sugar is high or low, and my body temperature goes up, which happens a lot throughout the day, that's actually more dangerous, which is why I got frostnip when I was in NY walking around, because one, the bullcrap boots I got from Target, they really cut off my circulation worse, and I already had a circulation issue, so my blood sugar was low. And so the point of saying all that is that there was a lot of things that I wanted to do, but it's like I really just can't with like the health stuff I have going on. So I realized a few years ago that I was most likely gonna have to do something that revolved around computers, even though I mean something I always liked or wanted to learn and understand, but I was never really good at understanding it. But I don't really have any other options, because I can't do anything else without continuing to hold on to life on the thin string, I guess I could say. I completely forgot this part. I'm not gonna lie, I liked it a lot. I was rebuilding some dude's mansion that burned down, and there were some other things in the neighborhood that I didn't work on, because like just do different stuff. I just couldn't go like how I wanted to. Like even transportation issues. My case manager was nice enough to bring me there a few times. Like in fact, due to blood sugar system, me not being able to see, I had got a chunk of wood in my bottom eyelid, and the dude was trying to play games with me about it because he was scared. But luckily, I was able to find it and get it out, because that would have been really bad if I would have got stuck in there. And it was pretty painful. And I learned a lot of stuff back then though. And there was like a lot of good programs around, but like even though people will want to like tell me, wait a minute, hold on. Even though people want to gaslight me, especially like certain people that I have met in some recent times, and more so especially in my previous situation, medical professionals especially, even though they would be scared every time they saw my blood work, because they didn't know I was still alive, and they didn't know how I even walked in the doctor's office. They would still play games, and then like people now will try to do like the toxic positivity stuff with me, and they make me feel like I'm just being negative and I'm not being positive by like talking about the fact that my health is kind of whatever, but lying to myself and acting like I'm like the past couple of years, like it's kind of hard for me to really pretend that I'm not sick. But I will say that when I was being gaslit, even though my health was way worse, I was like in constant pain, I wouldn't even be able to walk or crap, even laying down was hard. I still feel like I was almost better than, because like I was being gaslit so much about how horribly sick I was, to where it seems like things are better, but it's like nothing, not being gaslit anymore. As I mentioned, I think about the good things are running away, and like having people actually tell me that yeah, this is actually really bad. Like sometimes I just feel like I notice it more, but maybe the cold, the heat, the spine lumps, the DDD, all that stuff. It was supposed to be degenerative disc disease. Because like I said, I feel like if I was just given insulin, then these things would clear up after a while. But overall, that arthritis type stuff, it's like I can't really do this, so I have to do something else, and that's why I'm really trying to focus on figuring out tech stuff, because there's really not anything else I could do. Not to sit down for a long period of time is good for me either. That actually causes the most itch. I'm actually in less pain when I'm moving around, and I realized that back when I was still like really sick and had all the pain and stuff before the animal med cures that I did. The moving around is better for me. That's why I wanted to do something where I'm moving around, but it's like the things I'm moving around I still 99% can't do, so I have to go back to what I had actually been trying to get into for some years, or learn for some years. But I have to actually like really try to focus on it somehow, and keep going to the library and figuring things out, or trying to, because there aren't really any other options anyways, because I can't do anything else. And I have to also do something I'm working for myself, so I won't like have to worry about getting reported because I'm asleep or something. So there's quote unquote sleep. I would really consider passing out. Like I was calling it going to sleep, but then somebody else was like, no, that's not going to sleep, that's passing out. But I mean, I feel like for it to really be passing out, I have to be like falling out at random. And it's not like that. But anywho, Oh, that's another thing with it as well. When it came to doing the volunteer construction work and stuff, if I can't eat throughout the clock and also eat the right stuff and have the money to actually get the food, then I definitely can't do anything. Because that also means that I'm going to be, I'm probably going to be having fevers and shaking and stuff regardless, but I'm going to be falling asleep. That's the bare minimum. So that's another thing that I realized, or accepted, I guess I could say. And so that's why I'm trying to make sure I start focusing on tech stuff again, because there aren't really any other options I could think of. And also something I wanted to do anyways.
And I may sound kind of sick because my nose is stuffy because it's getting cold and stuff, but anywho, I mentioned before the whole situation back when I was in NC. I'm not gonna go back into all that, but I was asking around about jobs, and I was talking to this one lady, and she asked me about what type of experience I had. And I told her about how the most recent experience I had, other than volunteer farm work bullcrap I was doing, which I don't even think I remember to mention that. I did the construction work and the basic electrical and putting in the outlets and stuff like that, and like the woodwork and the measuring. And I told the lady, I think I told her about how I was looking for an apprenticeship or something like that. And when I told her that, all she did was laugh and pat me on the head and smile and say, "Who had you playing with wires? That's dangerous." And that kind of goes back to the overall theme, I guess I could say, which is that I really need to focus on continuing to work for myself as usual and doing things that I actually can do and really should be doing with the health issues I have. I need to stop focusing on doing things and trying to learn things that I would never get hired for anyways. And so that's that. And this can even go into the whole welding situation that happened recently, and how, like, it was really embarrassing, but I don't even know why I tried, because I know that I'm scared of fire. Like, I don't know what I thought I was going to be doing, but I mentioned that in the video titled, I think it's titled "Everything About Me Has Always Been Concerning to People" or something like that. I don't even really remember, to be honest, but it was something like that.